So now these points were discussed here once again. So in P block, totally 6 groups are present. Those 6 groups are, so 13th group, 14th group, 15, 16, 17 and 18. In this, in our first year, we are already completed 13th group and 14th group there. That. So now the general electronic configuration of all these P block elements is NS2 NP 1 to 6. This is the general electronic configuration of these elements there. So here one exception, that is called helium. So helium, which is present in the first period, and it is having a configuration of 1s2, but still it is present in the P block there. That. Next, in second year part, we are having 15th group, 16th group, and 17th group, 18th group. So all these 15, 16, 17, and 18 groups are non-metals, and in them some metals are present and metalloids are also present there. Because of the presence of these 3 types of things, metals, non-metals, and metalloids, their chemistry is greatly diversified. Next, come to the in second period. In second period, in 15th group, we are having nitrogen, 16th group oxygen, 17th group fluorine, 18th group is neon is present. For them, so there is no d orbitals are available. But in heavier members, the d orbitals and f orbitals are completely filled there. For this reason, their chemistry is completely influenced by the electrons which are present in the d and f orbitals there. So today we'll start the 15th group elements there. Come to that 15th group elements. We are going with that 15th group elements. In 15th group elements, these elements are present. That is called nitrogen, which is having a symbol of N. Second one, phosphorus, is having a symbol of P, capital P. Third one, arsenic. Its symbol is AS, arsenic. Next, antimony. Its symbol is SB, capital S and small b. Next one is bismuth. Its symbol is Bi. And last one is moscovium. Its symbol is MC. So totally we are having the 6 elements in this group. So those are the nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, bismuth, and moscovium. Then in this, nitrogen is only the gas at room temperature, but the remaining elements, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, bismuth, and moscovium are solids at room temperature. Then another one more thing we should compulsory learn here. So nitrogen and phosphorus are non-metals. Next, arsenic and antimony are metalloids. Then bismuth and mosconium are typical metals. So these are the things which are present in this 15th group elements. In that, nitrogen and phosphorus are non-metals. Arsenic and antimony are metalloids. Bismuth and moscovium is the typical metals which are present in this group there. Then come to their occurrence. That means where they are available for us. First I am going with the nitrogen. So this nitrogen, where it is available. First, 78% of the atmospheric volume is composed of nitrogen gas only. 78% of the atmospheric gas is nitrogen. The second, it is also available in earth crust. So in earth crust it is available in two forms. One is called the Chailly saltpetre. So its formula is NaNO3. So Chailly saltpetre is the common name, and its normal chemical name is the sodium nitrate, ATE. Sodium nitrate, because it is having NO3 there. Come to the second bit, Indian saltpetre. The Indian saltpetre formula is KNO3. So its chemical name is the potassium nitrate. Potassium nitrate, its chemical name. So whereas Chailly saltpetre is known as the sodium nitrate, whereas Indian saltpetre is known as the potassium nitrate. These two forms are available in the earth crust there. So it is also available in proteins. Is also available in proteins, both in animal and plant living world. So animal and plant living world, they are having this nitrogen in the form of protein. Once again, that occurrence of the nitrogen there. So 78% of the atmospheric volume composed of nitrogen gas only there. Not only in atmosphere, it is also available in the earth crust. So in the earth crust, it is present in two forms. One is called the Chailly saltpetre, and other one is called the Indian saltpetre. Chailly saltpetre formula is sodium nitrate, NaNO3, whereas Indian saltpetre formula is KNO3, that is called the potassium nitrate. It is present there. So it is also present in both animal and plant world in a form of protein. So protein is composed of nitrogen. So one of the part of that protein is the nitrogen only present there. So it is also available in the form of the protein there. So this is the occurrence about the nitrogen there. Then come to the next element, that is called the phosphorus there. In the case of phosphorus, so its occurrence is phosphorus. It is occur in phosphate rocks. Phosphate rocks, and here in this phosphate rocks we are having different types of categories. In that, one of the category is the apatite families. That is the apatite family. Then, what is this apatite family general formula? Apatite family general formula is this one. Calcium 9 times we are taking, and PO4 6 times total, that is Ca9 PO4 6 and Ca X2. So this is the general formula of the apatite family. Then, so what is the meaning of this X there here? Then X is equal to, this may be fluorine or chlorine or OH. Then I am substituting at first with the fluorine there. Then it is become Ca 9 times, PO4 6 times, Ca F2. This formula is known as fluorapatite. It is called there. Fluorapatite formula is Ca9 PO4 6 times Ca F2. Then, if it is present chlorine, then we can write there CaCl2. If it is present OH there, then we can write CaOH twice. If it is chlorine is present, then it is known as chlorapatite. If OH is present, it is known as the hydroxyapatite. It is called there. Once again, all those things. So if it is fluorine is present there, then it is known as the fluorapatite. If it is present, chlorine is present there, then it is known as the chlorapatite. If it is present, OH group is there, then it is called the hydroxyapatite there. Then, so these are the 3 types of apatites. In all those things we are having, so phosphorus, and the second one is also we are having the phosphorus. So phosphorus is present in all these things there. Then it is also present in bones of our body and in living cells. In the living cells there, bones and in living cells also it is present there. Then come to the next one. In this one only, it is also present in egg and milk. It's also present in the egg and milk there. So once again, all those things about the phosphorus. Phosphorus is commonly present in phosphate rocks. In that one, different types of families are there in that one. So majorly it is present in the apatite family. So in this apatite family, the general formula for apatite family is calcium 9 times, phosphorus PO4 6 times, and CaX2. So this is the general formula for our apatite family. So here, what is the meaning of this X? X is equal to fluorine or chlorine, or maybe OH group should be present there. Then, if it is fluorine, then its formula is become Ca9PO46 CaF2. Its name is the fluorapatite. It's called there. Fluorapatite. FLUO. Apatite. Its name is fluorapatite. Then, if it is this one, that is called the Ca9 times, PO4 6 times, then it is known as the chlorapatite. Next one. So this one is also having same type of formula, Ca9, PO4 6 times, CaOH twice, is known as hydroxyapatite. So these are the apatites. One is called the fluorapatite, second one is called the chlorapatite, third one is called the hydroxyapatite there. So all these apatites are having phosphorus there. Phosphorus is also present in bones and in living cells. Then it is also present in egg and milk there. So this is the source of our phosphorus there, or occurrence of our phosphorus there. Then come to the remaining elements. So where they are present there. The remaining elements here, we are taking the arsenic, antimony, and bismuth. So I am taking those things there. That is called the arsenic, antimony, and bismuth. All these three elements are occurred as a sulfide ores. They are present in a form of sulfide minerals. So they are present in the form of the sulfide minerals there. So these three elements, one is called the arsenic, antimony, and bismuth. So they are present in a form of the sulfide minerals there. The last element in this one, that is called the mosconium. This moscovium is recently synthesized artificial element. So it is a synthetic element, and it have radioactivity. It have radioactivity. It is a synthetic element and it is having the radioactivity, and its chemistry is not fully established now. For this reason, so no further discussions are there on this one. But we should learn these 2 points. One is called its atomic number. Is 115. Its atomic number is the 115, and its mass number is 289. This is the mass number of this one. Only two things are important for us. One is called its atomic number, atomic number is 115 and its mass number is 289. So we can also write its electronic configuration. Its electronic configuration, EC means electronic configuration, is radon. After that radon, we are filled these orbitals 5f14, 6d10, 7s2, 7p. So this is its electronic configuration. After radon, we are going with the 5f14, 6d10, next 7s2 and 7p3. So this is the electronic configuration of the moscovium. Moscovium is a synthetic radioactive element and its chemistry is not fully established up to now, but its atomic number is identified as 115 and its mass number is identified as 289 and its general configuration, its electronic configuration is radon 5f14, 6d10, 7s2 and 7p3. So this is the general electronic configuration of this element. That. So now we are going for the general characteristics of the 15th group element. This general characteristics of 15th group elements. First character is I am taking electronic configuration, EC. All these elements are having the general electronic configuration is NS2, NP. So here configuration, electronic configuration is NS2 and NP3. In this NS2 NP3 configuration, s orbital can accommodate only 2 electrons, so it is completely filled here, and p orbital can accommodate total 6 electrons in this p orbital, so that is called p sub shell, can accommodate now 6 electrons. So but here we are having only 3 electrons, that means here it is half filled there, meaning is NS2 means 2 electrons are there here. Then NP3, in this NP3 total we are having 3 p orbitals, px, py and pz. Then so here they are having 1 electron here, 1 electron here and 1 electron here. So that is called the half filled configuration it is having. So because of completely filled s orbital and half filled of the p orbital gives some extra stability for this configuration. They are having extra stable. They are the extra stable there. Because of this configuration, half filled configuration and completely filled configuration, these elements are always extra stable only there. Then come to the second one, that is called the atomic and ionic radii. Ionic radii. Atomic and ionic radii. Then atomic radii is increased
phosphorus is less than
arsenic. Arsenic is less than antimony. antimony is less than bismuth. So this is the order of the our covalent radius or atomic radius. We can take it. Here the atomic radius is taken as the covalent radius. The covalent radius order is in this manner. Bismuth is having more size and
Nitrogen, only 2 are
present, and here 3 orbits, and this is having the 4 orbits, 5 orbits, and 6 orbits. So orbit number, when it is increasing, automatically the size will be increased there. This is the covalent radius. Next, come to our next thing, that is called the ionic radii. So this ionic radii, because of the heavier members are completely filled d orbitals and f orbitals. Sometimes they are also having the f orbitals there. For this reason, this ionic radii increases from nitrogen to arsenic. Later it is decreases there. If you want to write its order there, then I can write this order in this manner. So the least size we are having for bismuth, then antimony. The next one is nitrogen. The next one is phosphorus. The next one is arsenic. So this is the order for ionic radius. So ionic radius is always increasing from nitrogen to arsenic. Later it becomes a decreases, and that decreases present in this manner. That is bismuth, so antimony, next nitrogen, phosphorus, and arsenic. So this is about that atomic radii. Then come to the third characteristic I am going now. That is the ionization potential. Then, what is the meaning of this ionization potential? The minimum amount of energy that is required to remove the electron from a gaseous atom, so from its outermost orbit, that is known as the ionization potential, it is called there. So for ionization potential, commonly we are representing in this manner. M is the element. So don't think M means metal. It is not a metal. It is maybe metal or non-metal or maybe metalloid. So now it gives rise to M plus, which is in gaseous state, plus electron. To remove this electron, how much energy is required there? That energy is known as the ionization potential of this M, which is present in a gaseous state there. So M is an atom. It is not a molecule. It is only atom. This atom may be metal, or maybe metalloid, or it may be non-metal there. Then, so for this, here nitrogen and its family, that is called the 15th group, they are having some extra stable electronic configuration. For this reason, the IP values of th group is more than 14th and 16th group elements. Group elements. Then, we already know that one in first year itself in the periodic table. IP1 is always less than IP2. IP2 is always less than IP3 and so onwards. So this is about the ionization potential of the 15th group element. So the minimum amount of energy that is required to remove the electron from its outermost gaseous atom orbit, then the energy is known as the ionization potential. So ionization potential is always having a positive sign because we are providing energy for the system. The system is taking that energy. So with the reference to that one, it is giving one electron for us for the outside there. The IP values of 15th group is always more than the 14th group and 16th group because so the 15th group elements are having extra stable electronic configuration. So for this reason, their IP values is always greater than the 14th and 16th group elements. Then IP1 value is always less than the IP2 value. IP2 value is always less than the IP3 value, and IP3 value is always less than the, so the remaining IP values we can take there. Come to the after ionization potential. Now I am going with the electronegativity. There. Come to that electronegativity. Electronegativity is always more for the non-metals and it is less for the metals there. So how we can decide that one there? If size is more, then we can tell that one is a metal character it develops there. So if size is less, then it develops the non-metal character. So in this group, nitrogen is having highest electronegativity and the least electronegativity is present for the bismuth there. So that is the nitrogen is highest and bismuth is least. So write that order there. Then nitrogen is greater than phosphorus. Phosphorus is greater than arsenic. Arsenic is greater than antimony, which is almost equals to bismuth. So antimony and bismuth both are having almost equal electronegativity, but nitrogen is having the highest electronegative element in this group. So nitrogen and phosphorus are the non-metals. For this reason, their electronegativities are very high. Whereas arsenic and antimony are the metalloids and bismuth is a metal. For this reason, their electronegativities are less. So the electronegativities become less from top to bottom because the size of these central atom or element is increases. Then come to that physical properties of these elements there. In this physical properties, we are discussing their metallic nature and their atomic nature. So how they are available in polyatomic state or diatomic state, we are discussing all those things here. Then first time comes with the nitrogen. So nitrogen is available in diatomic state. So that is called the N2, which is known as the diatomic. So state only it is available there. Whereas the remaining elements, that is called the, so it is a diatomic, I am writing. So remaining elements are polyatomic. The remaining elements are phosphorus, next arsenic, antimony, and bismuth. So arsenic, antimony, and bismuth. So all these elements are available in a polyatomic state there. So diatomic state is present for only nitrogen. This one is gas at room temperature, whereas the remaining all members are solids at room temperature. So first one is only the gas, and the remaining elements are the solids at room temperature. If you are going for its melting point, the melting point is least for nitrogen, and it is highest for that stibnite, that is nothing but the antimony. Bismuth is not available, so its values in our textbook there. Then once again, so in melting point, highest melting point is present for the stibnite or antimony, and least melting point is present for the nitrogen. Then come to the boiling point. The boiling point order. So the boiling point order is increased from top to bottom there. So in a regular manner there. So this is about our physical properties of these elements in this. So nitrogen and phosphorus are non-metals, and stibnite and arsenic are metalloids. Arsenic are metalloids, and bismuth is a metal there. Come to the our next one is nitrogen is diatomic gas, whereas the remaining elements are the polyatomic, and they are solids at room temperature. Next. Come to this. So here nitrogen doesn't show allotropy. Nitrogen doesn't show any allotropy, but remaining elements, they can show that allotropy there. What is the meaning of this allotropy? Allotropy means they are present in different physical forms, but they are having same chemical properties, all those allotropy forms. But nitrogen is not having any allotropy, but the remaining elements are having allotropy there. Come to the chemical properties of these elements. Come to the chemical properties. Now, in this first one is oxidation state. So in this oxidation states and their reactivity patterns, so we are going with that oxidation states there. All these elements are having some general oxidation states like -3. Next one, +3 and +5. So the general oxidation states of these elements are -3, plus 3 and plus 5 oxidation states are available for all these elements there. First I am going with the element onwards. Nitrogen I am taking. There. This nitrogen is having different types of oxidation states, that is -3 it is having, -2 it is having, -1 having, +1 is also present, +2 is also present, +3 is present, +4 is present, and +5 is present. So this much of oxidation states are present for nitrogen. -3, -2, -1, +1, +2, +3, +4, +5. So these are the oxidation states are available for nitrogen. So all these they are not given in our textbook, but they are asked once in the NEET examination. So for this reason, we are going with their examples also there. For this, best example is NH. Ammonia is the best example for -3 oxidation state. Then for -2 oxidation state, NH2 single bond NH2. So its name is the hydrazine, its name. Next, for -1, the example is NH2OH. For that, the example is the NH2OH. Next, for +1, example is N2O. That is called the nitrous oxide, or otherwise known as laughing gas. It is called there. For +2, it is NO. It is known as the nitric oxide. The above one is called nitrous oxide. This one is called the nitric oxide. And for +3, N2O3. That is called the nitrogen trioxide. Next, for +4, N2O4, nitrogen dioxide. And last one is N2O5. That is called the nitrogen pentoxide. Then come to the phosphorus.
For -3.
The best example is PH3. That is called the phosphine, its name. There. For +1, H3PO2. For +1, H3PO2. H3PO2 is known as the hypophosphorus acid. H3PO2 name is hypophosphorus acid. There. For +3, H3PO4. Sorry, H3PO3. For +3 oxidation state, and for +5 oxidation state is H3PO4. For the above one, we are having the H3PO3, and for this one, we are having the H3PO4. PH3 is known as phosphine. H3PO2 is known as hypophosphorus acid. H3PO3 is known as orthophosphorus acid. H3PO4 is known as orthophosphoric acid. So these are the examples for their oxidation states there. Come to that remaining elements. So remaining elements, that is called the arsenic, antimony, and bismuth. For them, these oxidation states are present there. For arsenic only I am writing -3, +1, +3, and +5. For stibnite, same, -3, +1, +3, and +5. For bismuth, it is having metallic character. For this reason, it doesn't have -3 oxidation state, but it is having that +1, +3, and +. So these are the oxidation states they are present for these elements. Then come to the further discussion about that oxidation state. Then, so this -3 oxidation state become weaker from top to bottom. So how we can explain that? So why it is become the -3 oxidation state is become weaker from top to bottom in a group there. So -3, that is minus oxidation states, are the characteristic features of the non-metals there. So whenever the size is increases there of the metal atom or the atom of that group, then metallic character increases there. So metallic character is increases. For this reason, this -3 oxidation state is become weaker from top to bottom. That is nitrogen and phosphorus. They are commonly showing this -3 oxidation state, but metalloids like arsenic and antimony, so they are not ready to show this -3 oxidation state. And bismuth doesn't show this -3 oxidation state. Then come to this that +5 oxidation state. This +5 oxidation state is also become weaker from top to bottom there. Then here metallic character is increases, even though that +5 become the weaker from top to bottom because of the inert pair effect there. So we can explain this one with the inert pair effect. Inert pair effect. What is the meaning of this inert pair effect? The inert pair effect means the s orbital electrons, they are not participating in the reaction. So we can tell for bismuth, so bismuth is having only one time it can show this +5 oxidation state, that is called the BiF5. This is the only thing in this condition only it can show the +5 oxidation state. Then come to the +3 oxidation state. Then this +3 oxidation state is become more stable So almost all these elements are, they want to stay in +3 oxidation state only. So because this is called the most stable oxidation state of the 15th group elements there. So in this one, they are discussed in our textbook about that disproportionation reactions there. Then, if any element which is present in its least oxidation state, example I am taking for this group elements, the least oxidation state is -3 and their highest oxidation state is +5. Then, if it is present in -3 oxidation state or if it is present in +5 oxidation state, at that time they doesn't undergo for disproportionation reaction. So in this oxidation state and in this oxidation state, they doesn't undergo for disproportionation reaction. Disproportionation reaction. They doesn't undergo for disproportionation reaction. Then come to that examples of these things there, and I am taking the example of our nitrogen. Then, in this nitrogen case, HNO2 I am taking of 3 moles. Here nitrogen is having +3 oxidation state. It can undergo for now disproportionation and form 1 mole of HNO3 and 2 moles of NO and 1 mole of water molecule. There. Here nitrogen is having the +5 oxidation state, and here nitrogen is having +2 oxidation state. Then here +3 oxidation state now converts into +5 as well as +2. So here the element which is present in 1 oxidation state is now converts into 2 oxidation states. This type of reactions are known as the disproportionation reaction. So this reaction takes place in acidic medium. Then phosphorus can also show this disproportionation reaction. So in its middle oxidation states like +1, +3. So because -3 and +5 is one is the least oxidation state and other one is the highest oxidation state. In that state, no element can show the disproportionation reaction. That means both nitrogen and phosphorus, they can show the disproportionation reactions in their intermediate oxidation states. Then come to our arsenic, antimony, and bismuth. These 3 elements, they doesn't show disproportionation. They doesn't show disproportionation reaction. In the following oxidation states, that is -3, +3, and +5. Then, so here nitrogen and phosphorus, they can show the disproportionation in +3, but arsenic, antimony, and bismuth, they doesn't show the disproportionation reaction even in +3 oxidation state also. This is another one more important bit here. So they are more stable in +3 So they do not want to go for any disproportionation reaction there. Then come to that covalency concept in this oxidation state properties. Nitrogen is having a covalency of 4. Covalency of 4. So why it is having a covalency of 4 only? Because in its outermost valency or its outermost orbit, it is having 1 s orbital and 3 p orbitals present. Then this total is become the 4 there. Because of this 4 orbitals, you can show the valency of 4. So here, example for this one is NH4 plus. In this one, it can form the 4 bonds there. Those are the nitrogen, hydrogen, 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 and hydrogen. There. So here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Total 4 bonds it is forming. And this total is having 1 charge. That charge is positive. Because of lack of d orbitals, nitrogen is always having a covalency of only 4. Then come to the remaining elements. Remaining elements are having so d orbitals. For this reason, their covalency, that is called phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, and bismuth. All these elements covalency is 6. Why they are become the 6 there? Because they are having d orbitals. Here d orbitals present. For this reason, their covalence is going to 6. One example for this one is that PF6 minus. This is the best example for the covalency 6 there. So today we will close up to here only there. So what we are discussed here today, that is we have started that P block elements. In that P block elements, we are now go for the 15th group elements. 15th group elements, we are these elements: nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, bismuth, and moscovium. So in those things, moscovium is a radioactive element, and artificially it is synthesized there. And we have discussed about their occurrence. Next, their physical properties and chemical properties. In their chemical properties, we are discussed only one property today, that is called the oxidation state and their reactivity trends. Only this one we are completed there. So tomorrow we'll go for the remaining things. So you put your textbook with you there, then you can follow in a better manner for this inorganic topic there. Okay, thank you. So evening, so the evening session. So we are having the classes are starts at 3 o'clock there. They will send the link for you there. So 3 to 6 we are having. So 3 o'clock you are having the physics class, and at 4:30 you are having the mathematics class there. Okay, thank you, and tomorrow we'll meet again there. ఆ సైజా కష్టమే సార్ అలాగవుతానే కష్టమే కదా సైజు ఎలా రాయగలమ్మా Hmm.
దాన్ని ఈ